Hi, I'm Katie Kempner, and we're on the WebMD interview stage at Advertising Week. And this is Perspectives, which is a series of inspiring conversations with remarkable working women who are leading busy and successful lives. And right now, it is my pleasure to be talking with Krista Lang, who's SVP Director of Media of 22 Squared. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for stopping by.
Of course.
So first off, let's just say, what is 22 Squared?
Yeah, 22 Squared is an independent advertising agency. So we're 100% employee-owned. We're full service. So we do creative media, everything for our clients. So we have about 13 clients that we work with right now.
And how long have you been there?
Twice I've been there, so this past time 2.5 years, but prior about 10 years ago I was there for 3 years.
Ah, you're a boomerang.
Yep.
That always speaks well for a company.
Yeah, yeah.
So I asked you that because I know we were talking a little bit about you moving,
Yeah.
and I wanted to talk about that. You have 2 kids that are 22 months apart?
Yes, very young, very close together. Yes.
I have 2 kids that are 22 months apart too, and can tell you that it does get better.
Good. Every day I know it gets better. That's good.
But for a little while, you know, when, especially that first year, I don't think I remember my kids' first year.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I took this job, moved cross country with a 4-month-old and a 2-year-old, so I don't remember the first year at all, the first 6 months. I told my team, I said, I am sleep deprived and just bear with me.
Well, I really want to talk about that because I think, you know, when I started doing this and thinking about doing this, it really was because through my life I hadn't, you know, I had these kids 22 months apart from each other and had a growing career and was always sort of being pulled in a million directions and feeling that way, which isn't good and isn't healthy and isn't productive for anything you're doing.
Right.
So, you know, you're dealing with that, your kids are younger, you move across country. Can you talk a little bit about just ways you've been able to make that work and not implode?
Yes, I think definitely having a support system. So one, my husband is amazing and we are both in the business together, so he knows how crazy advertising is, which is helpful. 2, we moved closer to family, so I have family close that can help us, and then we also have a little network inside of our agency that we have all kids around the same age together, so we all kind of watch out for each other, we get together for play dates, we babysit each other's kids, so it's cost efficient and we all know each other very well and trust each other. So I think having a support system is a big part of that, having people that you can rely on and help. I think the other part of it is setting expectations. When I first got the job, I knew I had 2 babies, so I said, first and foremost, I'm working for my family, and I work to live versus live to work. And when I'm at work, I'm at work. And I had a lot of young working mothers in my group as well, and kind of told them, I'm leaving at between 5 and 5:30 every day, and I expect you to do the same. So when we're at work, be at work, and when you're at home, be at home. Put everything aside, focus on your family. So those are kind of the 2 of the big things that I try to focus on.
I love that concept, and you know, I've interviewed Arianna Huffington before and read her book, and I know she very much believes in that. But aren't there a lot of cases these days where even if you as an employer say to your employees, okay, guess what, we won't have to be on duty anymore, your clients don't feel that way?
Right.
So how are you actually able to implement that?
I think it's setting boundaries with your clients, and I think just letting them in a little bit on your personal life. I think a client relationship is a friendship and a partnership as much as anything, a business relationship. So letting them aware of what's going on in your life and being aware of what's going on in their life is a big part of that. And I think, yes, there's going to be times when you're going to have to stay late at work during the busy seasons and you're going to have to be on call, and there's a balance of that. So get online, you know, after the kids go to bed, check up on things, focus on work during that time, and focus on your family when in that few hours that you have with them to put them to bed and eat dinner with them.
So do you sort of unplug and you're not?
Try to, yes.
You try to unplug?
Yes. Occasionally I'll take a phone call in the car on the way, you know, home from work, which my kids love my boss because they think that he's dad because he's a male voice, which is hilarious. So, yes, so I think occasionally we'll take a call in the car on the way home in a long commute, but other than that, the phone goes in the purse when I get home and it comes back out at 8 when they go to bed.
So you said something really interesting about clients, you know, it being a friendship and telling them about your personal life. I think a lot of women feel that in fact they shouldn't tell anybody about their life, and you know, they shouldn't say, okay, I have to do this, and that they should always be available. And I don't know if that's more of a female thing or more of just being a successful worker thing.
Right.
So this is a different philosophy. I like it.
Yes. Well, and I think our agency that we work at is very family friendly. So, and I know not a lot of companies are like that. So I think you have to find the balance of where you're at and what you do expose, because you don't want to be seen as not being contributing when you need to be, but at least in my perspective, all the companies that I've been at, including the one that I'm at now, we have a lot of young kids, a lot of young families, and everybody kind of rallies around that and understands when that happens. So when you're even looking for positions and looking for jobs, if you're in that certain life stage and you know that that's what you're going to need, I think it's important to ask about that and to focus on that. I know my kids are going to get older and they're going to need less of me. So, but right now it was very important as I took the job that they knew, I set expectations up front and I knew that.
Your kids are going to get older,
yes.
and like my kids, now they both have cars.
Yes.
You won't know where they are,
yeah.
and so you'll have a whole different set of worries.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, they're not going to want to hang out with me.
Right. And 2 insurance payments,
yes.
a car payment.
Yes.
But so, the whole conversation about women in the workplace it's so different than it was years ago. When I started doing this about 3 years ago, there wasn't a lot of talk about it.
Right.
And now there's a lot of talk about it.
Right.
I mean, every conference, every place you go, every conference, there's there's so much talk about it. In fact, one of the things that really sparked the whole conversation was an article that was in The Atlantic, written by Anne Marie Slaughter, about can women have it all?
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And actually, she just wrote a book. I just read a review of it in the New York Times last week, and she just wrote a book expounding on that. So it's been 3 years since that. But has there been a lot of progress?
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's still a lot of questions and a lot of communication about it. I mean, obviously Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, is a big proponent of conversation that happened a few years ago. Marissa Mayer, big CEOs of companies that are women are kind of bringing it to the forefront. I don't think that there's been as much movement as we need there to be right now. I know Sweden just came out. They're doing 6-hour work days to help with the balance of family and work and that life balance. And I don't think America is kind of set up for that mentality.
Yeah.
I also read another article that said that we're meeting more. We're meeting on weekends. We're doing nighttime calls, and it's actually getting worse. So I think that there is not a lot of progress. There's probably progress on the bad end of that, working too much. So I think it's still a conversation that we're having.
Yeah, and more to come.
Yes.
What would you like to see?
I think better understanding of what's going on. I think more opportunities for women to have more flexible work times. I think we do that a lot at my office. We have people that come in early and leave early so that they can be home for their kids at night. We really focus on doing family events at work, so giving them opportunities to do that. People that come back from maternity leave, they have a schedule that they can set. They can work part-time, kind of ease back in, and we're doing more of that. It's not quite there yet, but it's definitely a focus of what we want to do. It's part of our culture.
Wow, it sounds terrific.
Yes. Yeah.
It really does.
Yes.
Well, I'd just like to wrap up and ask you if you have one piece of advice that has helped guide you through your career and your life so far that you could share with us. What is it?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the balance of when you're in the moment, be in the moment. When you're at work, be fully at work. Obviously, you're going to get a call from your kid's school to pick them up for being sick or whatever, but be in the moment as much as you can and deal with it outside of work as much as you can too. Be in the moment when you're with your kids, be present with them and enjoy them while you can, because again, they're going to run off into their own cars and their own worlds, and you're not going to have that time back.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Sure, thanks.
And thank you.